cycling and bike tips for tourists. You basically just don't be a jerk in the pedestrian areas and be careful of cars. This is James Whalen. I've been a cyclist in Barcelona for years and years and years. One thing that you see happen with tourists is they tend to turn up in herds on the bicycles. I don't know if some of these are guided tours or it's just big groups, but in the center of Barcelona, it's mostly a pedestrianized area. And what that means is walking and for people moving around and shopping. You want to be really careful in those areas if you're on your bike. It creates friction. It gives a bad impression of bicycles to local people and to other tourists. Barcelona does have a really good system of bicycle lanes below the Diagonal. They've built those lanes, these bicycle lanes, in the last 15 years, but I would say that the local population is a little bit ambivalent or even confrontational or negative towards bicycles. So you don't want to go smashing around in the center. That said, if you're going to be moving around outside of the center, you want to stay in those bike lanes. The traffic is pretty gnarly here. I joke, I mean, they follow rules, but I think all the drivers are just too impatient. I joke that they race each other to the red light. I don't know what the point of that is, but moving around in the traffic is not a good idea. I try not to do it. Below Diagonal, there's a really good system of bike lanes that are interconnected, and you can get around the city and enjoy it. You're safe. There's bicycle stoplights. The whole thing is well marked these days. The bike lanes have probably doubled and tripled in the last few years. So it's becoming a more and more friendly city to bikes. But what you sometimes see tourists do is tourists come in and they don't know really where they are, and they end up in some major intersection, especially in big groups like this long herd of bikes moving around, and it gets a little bit dangerous and frightening and frustrating for the drivers. So keep that in mind. Don't be a jerk around pedestrians. Stay in the bike lanes when you're outside of the center. The beach is a great place to move around on the bike. Again, it gets pretty crowded there. Just use common sense and take it easy. You're here to see the city, not race through it. This is not Amsterdam. Bikes are not as common here as you probably think. A lot of times the people who you see riding bicycle, local people who are riding bicycles, are usually young locals who are a little bit into the whole idea, or maybe even foreigners who live here. And a lot of the population is kind of keeps their distance or is a little bit negative towards bicycles. I've almost been run over 3 times in my neighborhood. Someone one time passed me. You can imagine a single road with 2 cars parked cars on both sides, and a car passed me within a very small distance. And when I went up and stopped to talk to the person told me that I didn't belong in the street and I had to use a bike lane. And this is in a neighborhood where there are no bike lanes up above the city. So just be careful while you're here. The traffic can be a little crazy. Anyway, this is James Whalen. I'm just giving you everything I can. I'm trying to think about how to help you with your trip. I'm trying to put myself in your place and imagine what do you need to know coming here. If you've got more questions, shoot them at me. I'm trying to look at questions and information that's coming in and respond to it. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Adios.